The date was August 20th, 2016. The Rio Olympics were in full swing, and Brazil's national men's soccer team had just been in Germany to secure its first gold medal in that event in its nation's history. On the same day, over 3,000 miles away in the United States, the both heralded and cryptic musician Frank Ocean released his long-awaited album, Blonde. These two events would already hold incredible significance to millions of people on their own, but the years of context leading up to this date made these two things even more impactful. There was a feeling of redemption. But like any story of redemption, things start in a place of struggle and crippling uncertainty. Let's start with Brazil's national men's soccer team. To fully understand why their triumph over Germany in the Rio Olympics was immensely significant, we have to go back to the 2014 World Cup, an event that also took place in Brazil. Any soccer fan knows where this is going. The infamous semi-final match between Brazil and Germany that would leave the South American nation in shambles.
Plenty of height on it, it's gone through! Germany score! Germany looking good for the final on Sunday, they might get another one here! It's 3-0, it's a romp for the Germans! And they're here again, there's three forward, Khedira, Özil, they're queuing up, they're all going to score at this rate. Oh, what a night they're going to have. But they might have number 7 here now. They have got 7. It's Brazil 1, Germany 7.
A 7-1 defeat in soccer's biggest stage was nothing short of the worst possible scenario for Brazil. They instantly became an international meme for everything related to coming up short or being massively disappointing. Simply put, they were the face of embarrassment. They would lose the third-place match versus the Netherlands and finish 4th in the tournament. The next major event for the national team would be Copa America in 2015. However, more disappointment would come for Brazil. After advancing to the knockout stage, they would lose to Paraguay in a tight match decided by penalty kicks. Brazil didn't have their most talented player, Neymar, in their embarrassing loss to Germany or this loss to Paraguay, due to injury and suspensions. One could say he lost his cool after Brazil's defeat to Colombia in the group stages before their eventual knockout stage loss. One thing was for sure, this team was frustrated and far away from their patterns of dominance. Let's go back to Frank. After his debut album Channel Orange took the R&B world by storm in 2012, it looked like he was ready to become the next big thing. His voice was as beautiful as it was unique, and his production skills had been put through the gauntlet of the music industry, and he had a sound and feel that couldn't be replicated. He had everything going for him. But everything came to a screeching halt. Years passed, and Frank had become more and more disengaged with his fan base. Between early 2013 and early 2016, there was virtually nothing more than a few Tumblr posts and song snippets here and there to pin down his existence on this earth. What was going on with Frank? Nobody seemed to know at the time. He was just kinda gone. In the depths of anonymity, Frank's success in the music industry had brought on a bevy of problems. In an interview with the New York Times, he reflects on periods in Los Angeles in 2013 where there were issues with his inner circle, even having money stolen from him, and was even jumped by Chris Brown and his colleagues. On top of all of this, he was stuck in an abusive contract with Def Jam, with Frank having to buy back material he created from the label, paying out of pocket. To make matters worse, he was experiencing writer's block that would last almost a year, as he would stare at monitors and come up with nothing he liked. He needed to get away from it all, so he would fly to London with little more than a suitcase of clothes and his life's work stored on a number of hard drives. He explained the move by saying, quote, "If your house is on fire, you need to get out of the house." There he essentially started from scratch. He made new friends, and began recording again. In London, his 2 new albums, Endless and Blonde, were in their infancy. Let's go back to Brazil now. After an unmitigated disaster in the 2014 World Cup and a frustrating bounce out of Copa America in 2015, it came time for the 2016 Olympics in Rio, where the home nation's soccer team would once again face the privilege and pressure of playing on their home turf. And early on in the group stages, it seemed like the nerves were getting to them once again. They failed to score a goal in their first 2 matches, coming away with draws versus Iraq and South Africa. However, with a win versus Denmark, they secured their spot in the knockout round. There, they would get their revenge on Colombia, and they would dominate Honduras to advance to the final stage where they would meet who else but the Germans. It was rematch time. It almost seemed like deja vu, the same 2 nations facing off in the same country. With the home crowd waiting in anticipation, the pressure was on for the Brazilians, and the match would be tense.
Brazil playing in a 4th Olympic football tournament gold medal game. They have not won gold previously, losing all 3, including London. Great chance here, in it goes! Neymar! Side. Brunt with a little flick on the overlap. Toil! Germany are level! We hit 120 minutes. And with that, we are going to see penalties to decide the gold and silver medals. Each players for Germany steps up. Denied by Weverton! Is it to be? He wrote his name in the history books for the quickest ever Olympic goal in the semi-final. After the Weverton save, he's gifted Neymar the opportunity to conclude it here. Neymar of Barcelona, of Brazil, gives Brazil their first ever world.
All of the embarrassment, all of the people saying that Germany had their number. It wouldn't erase the 7-1 disaster, but the wounds of that match stung a lot less that night in Rio. The date was August 20th, 2016, and Brazil had gotten their redemption.
And the pain of the 7-1 loss to Germany at the World Cup forgotten. There is Kloss now.
For Frank, his fight back against the circumstances would be more gradual. In what he called a 7-year chess game with Def Jam, he would finally buy his way out of his contract. The last hurdle would be the label handling the release of Endless, a new visual album that was created with Blonde. It was the sacrificial lamb so that Blonde could be released under Frank's own name. Frank had finally won. He was free to make whatever art he wanted, had reset his management team, restored order to his inner circle, and made one of the most memorable albums of the last decade. After all the unforeseen challenges and unjust treatment, Frank was finally back in full control of his career, and was on top yet again. The date was August 20th, 2016, and Frank had gotten his redemption.